Over 13.5 million children living in the United States grow up in or around the federal poverty line, which is an annual income of $20,000 per year.
This brings up the question, what are the psychological impacts of poverty on a student's academic success? Does a student's socioeconomic status affect their educational abilities?
Students from high-income families have a 16% higher graduation rate compared with their peers from low-income families. The highest socioeconomic group entering kindergarten have cognitive scores 60% higher than those of the children in lower groups. In 4th and 8th grade mathematics and reading, the score gap was more than 20 points between students from high-income families and low-income families.
Children from poverty-stricken homes are likely to get twice as many reprimands as positive comments from their parents. This can cause them to grow up having chronic stress, which causes them to have mistrust in adults. So when they go into the classroom, they are likely to have mistrust with their teachers because they feel like their teachers are going to fail them as well.
It's your first or second year in track, and your coach wants your mile time to be 8 minutes, but you know you can do better. Your coach is happy with your 8 minutes and now makes the goal 7:50, which you can already do, so you don't try much harder because you already accomplished the goal. You start to notice, though, that your friend has more times with the coach, and the coach has different and more impressive goals for your friend, and is even working more to help your friend accomplish them. Your friend has been in track all of their life, so you logically know that they are better than you, but you can't help but give up some motivation simply because you feel that you will never reach that level of skill. How you feel coach is treating you seems to back that up.
Some disadvantages that these students have are lack of technology, vocab, supplies, and emotional support at home and sometimes in the classroom.
Students living in poverty have limited access to academic and social support outside of school. Students are often exposed to conditions that influence their health, safety, and well-being. Students of and schools that serve students living in poverty usually do not have access to high levels of social capital because of exposure to adverse conditions. Although, these conditions don't have to define the students. More than 1 million public school students from racially, ethnically, culturally, and linguistically diverse families and communities who qualify for free or reduced priced lunch rank in the top quartile academically. They are called the academically resilient, and this group still remains significantly understudied. To help students in poverty achieve, they need positive relationships, teachers who care, family and community assets, and many forms of motivation. The Today Show uploaded a video entitled, "How One School Dramatically Changed Its Students' Behavior in 1 Year." It talks about Allen Elementary School in Marion, Indiana. Allen Elementary had approximately 212 suspensions in 2013, as well as being a failing school. The poverty rate in the community is higher than the national average, and Principal Anthony Williams knew what had to be done. He implemented the New Beginnings program that focused on the student's emotional processing rather than disciplining the child, and since then, they have become a B school with only 16 suspensions. We were inspired to email Mr. Williams asking for an interview, and he graciously agreed.
I'm honored to be the face of that video, but there are a lot of other people that play a role in the contribution of the program, the development of the program. It just so happens that I'm the face that's there, but everybody from EAs to parents to teachers to community partners help make New Beginnings successful. Mainly because New Beginnings it's a program, but it's driven by people. You know, and that's the way we do it, is people versus programs. So yes, it's a great support system, and what we try to do with that support system is talk about how behavior can change. So the old method of consequences and discipline was there's an infraction, that student goes home, we don't see that student for X number of days, and then that student comes back with the exact same behavior that they had before they left. So our take on it is, why send that student home? Let's keep that student in the academic setting. Let's try to actually work on changing the behavior. New Beginnings is also a very patient support system, because we realize if the behavior didn't start overnight. It's not going to end overnight, so it might take a month, it might take a year. Also getting the parents involved, letting them know that this is what we're seeing at school, but if you're seeing these same behaviors at home, we can help support you, you can support us with some strategies so we can have that student be successful. But like I said, it's a great support system driven by people that care about students long term. So we may be working with the student now to get their behavior in line because it's going to pay off 5 years from now.
For sure, that's so awesome. Do you believe that teachers have to overcome any obstacles to teach students who live in lower income families?
I think if you have a passion, that passion can translate anywhere you go. It can be rural, it can be country, it can be city, it can be urban, it can be East Coast, West Coast, so it doesn't matter. I think if you have that purpose and passion, which is what we do, here at Allen, we have a lot of mission-motivated people here at Allen, which makes my job a lot easier and it makes it rewarding because we have people that really care about more than just, reading, writing, and arithmetic. So I think it can translate anywhere, but it does play a role in, you have to learn, the demographics of where you're teaching and who you're teaching. One of the things we try to do, and I know we did several years ago, is we took a tour of the community because we wanted to get our staff on the bus and we wanted to have them drive around the community to see where our students actually live so they can see what they were coming from and what they were bringing into the school. So I think you have to learn, and it has to be daily, but I think if you have people that are mission driven, it'll definitely work out.
So teachers have the passion to overcome any obstacles if they want to, but children who live in poverty, what do you believe that they have to overcome in order to do their best?
A couple different answers to that one. I think some of it depends on the age of the student. So the reason why I say that is because the awareness piece, so you have older students that might be aware of where they're coming from, they might be more aware of the differences between them and the person that sits next to them in the classroom. They may have been exposed to a lot more, and when I say exposure, that could be good or bad. So you have some students that have been exposed to, the bottom, level of poverty, and then you have some students that do have those experiences of getting outside of Marion and seeing different things for themselves. So it plays a huge factor, but it's something I think really depends on the age of the student as well. I think it depends on the age of the parents, how much they've been exposed to. Within the last 5 years, the parent range that I'm kind of dealing with is I have some parents that are 20, early 20s, and I have some parents that are in their mid 30s and older. So I think the level of what their parents have gone through either can create that generational poverty, so it's just the same thing after, or you may have a generation that maybe has tried to escape that poverty cycle, which kind of puts them in a better light. Well, I would say with Allen, it's a barrier that we're trying to tackle here at Allen, but it's also Marion Community Schools. It's many places in the state of Indiana. It's across the country. So we're all kind of going through, some of those same barriers that we kind of have to fight. So Grant County had, one of the highest poverty rates and, higher than the state of Indiana and other counties, and also higher than other counties in, the country as well. So if you put that with comparison, this is a bigger battle that we're fighting. It's not just a local. So definitely trying to have a lot of different hands in school and outside of school to help support that. It's huge just because it affects social, emotional learning. So we always talk about we can't even talk to a student about picking up a pencil and getting work done until we can really build a relationship with them. We can talk about where they're coming from. We can talk about what they have to go home to. So those are definite conversations that we have to have before we can even think about academics. So what we try to do is we try to support our students by, like I said, just building a relationship with them, but also building a relationship with parents so we understand the background that they're coming from, where they're living, what their needs are. And I think that really helps us because we're a service profession.